Winter is finally here, and so ends the Weezer Seasons project, along with my purgatorial state of giving my thoughts and opinions on the tracks. My anticipation for this one has been overall mixed. While I liked fall, this release structure and load has really made me disinterested in its conclusion out of fear that the sound of the EP would be really oversaturated. And while winter has its ups, my greatest Weezer related fears have been realized in that it's kind of mediocre. There's no major offenses along the lines of Ratitude, and the dullness on display isn't nearly as droggy as the second half of Green Album, but it does sit comfortably as not so great in my opinion, especially when compared to its brethren. So as a whole, it's mixed, but how do I feel about the individual tracks? I want to hate I Want a Dog so gosh darn bad. I want to sit here and tell you that it's corny Ratitude bullshack, but I just can't. It's such a soft spoken start that hits straight into a potent rock chorus. A track like this would fit really well into an album like Hurley, such as the shift into rock guitar like in tracks like Unspoken, combined with the quirky lyrics of a song like All My Friends Are In Sex. Iambic pentameter is solid, clever, and honestly can be described as more of what I Want a Dog presented. The kooky iambic pentameter, oh my, I'm not saying this right any of the times I do it, but we gotta truck on. The kooky iambic pentameter is enjoyably digestible, and the constant changes in structure is something I have a soft spot for, and so this track gets bonus points for doing it, and more bonus points for doing it well. Basketball is mediocre and seems almost like its intention in execution. It feels like the track is missing some spice to give it enough character to earn its spot on my shuffle. If this came out in summer, I probably would have been more tolerant of it. But here in winter, my patience for run-of-the-mill Weezer nerd rock is a bit lower than what my doctor recommends. Sheraton Commander has such an attention-grabbing start as some sort of OK Human track in a sea of Hurley so far. Its analog sound with soft, drawn-out vocals rolling into some sort of speech about George Washington with the sound of a snare is really engrossing. Maybe not something that gets put on my music shuffle, but hearing it within the album is a treat. Dark Enough to See the Stars is that kind of song that's like, oh yeah, this is a part of the season's project kind of song. And it sounds like it could be on Spring semi-decently. The harmonica on the track is a welcome, unique addition that I'm happy to see at least once. The chorus is quite complacent, but I really liked the bridge. Almost earned a place on my shuffle, but I was afraid of it growing old upon re-listen. I'll have to see how I feel about it in a week or two. The one that got away is the one that I just can't get behind. It sounds like a pure lifeless track that's a giant pile of flesh, but it ain't got no bones. Songs like this is where my desire to have condensed this project into a singular album actually stem from. It's just another track where the songwriting feels empty and unfinished. Like if Rivers does that thing he likes to do, where he writes a song, but reuses the good parts of that song into like another official release, I feel like he would have gotten much more mileage out of that than what he made here. It's just full of all these awkward stops and pauses that just don't sit well on my palate. Songs from fall like Can't Dance, Don't Ask Me felt similar to me, except due to the fast pace, it created this sense of jagged chaos I enjoyed. However, this feels slow and stinted and lame as a result. Like it's not horrible at all, nor bad. It's just okay. And that's it for me. The Deep and Dreamless Sleep continues the trend of decent EP closers, but despite being last, it feels like the weakest one. Its presentation and style is unique and steers away from the sameness that can be found on this EP, with more breaks in style that I don't think I enjoyed as much as before just due to the saturation of them this far into this. And while good, doesn't live up to the bangers of Run Raven Run and Thank You and Goodnight. And also, there's that riff mid-song that just totally sounds like the start to Party Tonight from Regular Show, and I noticed it immediately. Overall, Winter is a decent, if not a little lackluster, final entry into the season's project. Now that I can look back at the project as a whole, I can say with certainty that it was just alright. Now, if Weezer had just sat down and made one conceptual album combining the cream of the crop and made like one big normal album, I think this project could have been one of the greats, and not this awkward roller coasters of highs and lows. You know what? Instead of just speaking in hypotheticals, how about I just man up and turn this concept into a reality as you can join me next ish, maybe possibly video as we turn these seasons into a full year. So like and subscribe to see what awful Frankenstein A plus tier Weezer album I muster up. But to close off this review series, it's time to give my rating of Winter. If I had to rate it, I'd call it a Shakespearean Hurley blood transfusion into my veins that leaves me feeling a bit dull and dizzy. And to just go ahead and rate the entire season's project as a whole, if I had to rate it, I'd say it's a flip-flopping, inconsistent pile of fish that some look cool, some look boring, but all look dorky. Anyways, that does it for today's video. Icer the Clown, signing out.